afternoon, class. It's Mr. Sargent here with your day 50. Can't believe we made it to day 50. Day 50 recap video for ELA and for science. Now, we started off today by talking about Red Ribbon Week. Yesterday we wore red. Today we're wearing something else and I cannot figure. Oh yeah, the shades, because we're going to shade out drugs and anything unhealthy out of our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important that we stay positive, that we stay hardworking and diligent, and we don't need those unhealthy habits and those unhealthy things to influence our life. So we started today by watching a video from Mindful Maya that talks a little bit about Red Ribbon Week, why we're doing it, why it's important to maintain a healthy lifestyle, as well as learning some other breathing techniques, kind of what we did last week with our test-taking strategies, but how to use those in everyday life. So let's go ahead and watch that now.
Mindfulness Maya here.
And Carlton.
I can't believe it's already October. This month is very special to us because it's when a lot of schools celebrate Red Ribbon Week.
Red Ribbon Week is a week that lots of schools use to teach students about how important it is to make healthy choices and how to say no to drugs.
We actually like to think of the word red in Red Ribbon Week as a word that stands for really excellent decisions.
The theme for this year is be happy, be brave, and be drug-free. So Maya and I are going to give you a few examples on how you can do just that.
First, be happy. It's so important to put your mental health first. Try to do things that make you feel happy and relaxed whenever you can. You could write, draw, listen to music, or play a game. And those are just a few examples. You know yourself best, so do what feels right. Like we always say at the end of our videos, remember to stay calm and stay mindful.
Second, be brave. If you see or feel something that's not right, don't be afraid to speak out about it. If you ever feel unsafe, be sure to talk to an adult that you know you can trust. Bravery is important, but your safety should always be one of your main focuses.
And lastly, be drug-free. When a friend or someone else tries to make you do something that you don't want to do, it's called peer pressure. Friends should be understanding and kind to you. So if they try to make you feel bad about not doing something, then they aren't a good friend. Try to avoid people that do things like that, and always try to make the best and safest choices for yourself.
All of these things can help you make really excellent decisions that keep you feeling safe and healthy. Another thing that we like to do to help us feel safe and healthy is our breathing exercises.
Today, we'll be doing the belly breath. Get in a comfortable spot and put one or both hands on your belly. You can close your eyes or leave them open if you like, and get ready to breathe now.
Breathe in and breathe out.
Breathe in and breathe out.
Last one. Breathe in and breathe out. Thanks everyone for breathing with us.
That's all for now, but we'll see you all next week. Until then, be sure to stay calm, stay mindful, and enjoy your Red Ribbon Week.
Now, I really like that video because it talked a lot about different strategies, different techniques, different ways that we can stay positive and make the right decision. And ladies and gentlemen, it's up to you to make the right decisions. But as we continue with our Red Ribbon Week, we're going to be learning a little bit more about how to maintain that healthy and drug-free life. So let's go on to reading. In reading today, we focused on context clues. Once again, we're looking for those higher level vocabulary words and how to find them in the passage to help us understand the story a little bit better. We talked a little bit today about mining and what mining is. Pretty much what we're doing whenever we read is we're mining for information in our stories, but we're talking about real life mining today. We started with a video talking a little bit about why mining exists and where it still exists in our world today and why it is needed in some places. We then transitioned to talk about what it would be like to be trapped in a coal mine, and it definitely brought some great conversations, and this led to our story today that talked about coal miners that were trapped in a Chilean, which is in Chile, coal mine for 69 days. And we could only imagine what that would be like. So this story talks about an amazing rescue. So let's go ahead and read that now. An Amazing Rescue by Rebecca Cohen. On August 5th, 2010, a mine in the country of Chile caved in. 33 men were trapped inside. They were deep below the Earth's surface. Finding a way to rescue the workers took a long time. The men were trapped for 69 days. The men say that working together saved them. They voted on all the important decisions. They also took turns doing different tasks. On one day, a miner might be in charge of looking for a way out. On another day, he might keep the underground area clean. They also worked together to make their food last as long as they could. Many people asked how the men stayed so cheerful during their time underground. They took turns keeping each other's spirits up. If they hadn't worked together, the men might have lost hope. But the 33 miners from Chile supported each other to the end. On October 13th, 2010, they were saved at last. Now, in the title of the story, it's Amazing Rescue. Now, to really understand this story, you need to understand what the word amazing means. So what we're going to do is go back and find context clues to help us prove that this is an amazing rescue. All right. So our two biggest parts or points of evidence here would be the first sentence in paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. Now, if we take a look at paragraph 2, it says the men say that working together saved them. And if we look at the first sentence in paragraph 3, it says many people asked how the men stayed so cheerful during their time underground. Now, each one of these sentences gives clues. They work together and they remain cheerful. But we need a little bit more proof. We need a little bit more context for these answers. So what I had the students do is create a chart, or sort of like a little bubble map, that gave us evidence for each one. So if we take a look at working together, can you find the different ways that they worked together? Okay, in this paragraph, I found 3 different examples of how the men worked together. If we look first, they voted. We know how important voting is, ladies and gentlemen. But they voted on the decisions that were made in there. And that is definitely showing that they're working together. The next bit of evidence that I found was they also took turns doing different tasks. Now, imagine having to do the same job over and over and over. It wouldn't help out, would it? So what they did was they switched up their jobs to fill a need that was needed down there. Now, one day they were in charge of looking for a way out. Another, they might have been keeping the area clean. Another, they could be helping prepare the food, things like that. Listen, that shows great teamwork and working together. So that is definitely proof and evidence for our theory here. And then finally, they worked together to make sure the food lasted a long time. They didn't know how long they were going to be down there. So together they were able to make their food last. All right. Those are 3 great bits of evidence, of context clues, to show us that 1, they work together, and 2, this is truly amazing. Now I have a challenge for you. Take a look at paragraph 3. Now, my bit of evidence for the word amazing and why this story is so amazing is that first sentence, that many people asked how the men stayed cheerful during their time underground. I want you to find the evidence. I want you to find the clues that prove that they stayed cheerful when they were underground. All right? Bring your interest tomorrow to class, and I cannot wait to see them. In Science Today, we discussed the difference between man-made and natural materials. Now, when we're talking about natural materials, we're talking about cotton, we're talking about wool, we're talking about wood, we're talking about metals that we mine. See, it ties in with the story that we just read. Now, all these materials are found in nature, and we use them. You think about all the things that we use cotton and wool for. For instance, our clothes is one of them. You think of all the material, all the things that we use wood for or metals for. Now, these are all things that are found in nature that we use. Then we talked about man-made materials. These are called synthetic materials. Everyone say synthetic. There you go, very good. Now, these are materials that you cannot find in nature. These are found in factories. These are made by man. So let's talk a little bit about some of the synthetic materials that were in our discussion today. Now, when we're talking about synthetic materials, we're talking about materials that started off at one point as a natural material, but then they combined and formed a mixture and a solution, which ties in with last week's videos. So if you haven't got a chance to see those, go back and check out last week's videos. We talked about mixtures and solutions a lot, but these man-made materials are a mix of different natural materials that form together to create an entirely new material. These materials include plastic, rubber. You think about how all the things that we use for plastic. I'm looking around the room right now and I'm seeing a lot of things using plastic. Even my glass frames are made of plastic. So when you think about a man-made material, think about something that doesn't happen in nature, but we use it every single day. Then we talked about this week's project, and I want you guys and ladies to get ideas for our project this week. Now, as you all know, one of my favorite stories is Three Little Pigs. Now, the great thing about Three Little Pigs, other than the wolf, because we are the wolf pack, is that each pig built their house out of a different material. Now, it ties in with our science lesson today. We had one that built their house out of straw. We had one that built their house out of wood, and we had, or sticks, and we had one that built their house out of brick, okay? Now, we talked about man-made or synthetic versus natural materials. And when you think about this, the straw and the sticks are natural materials. The brick is synthetic. So this got us thinking about how we would design our own houses using some materials that we have around the house, whether they be natural or synthetic. So tomorrow we're going to be designing our own house. And then on Thursday, Friday, and this weekend, we're going to go ahead and build it. Now, there are some rules to this experiment / project, and that is, well, it needs to be sturdy, which means it needs to stand up. It needs to be, well, a house. It has to have a roof, has to have walls, things like that. But it's also got to withstand some certain tests. Now, we're going to test our houses this week. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to tell you how we're going to test these houses. It's one thing to build a house. It's another thing to have it be a successful house.
This experiment is too hard for you. You're not going to be able to do this. It's not going to work.
And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. And that's it for day 50. Before we go, I want to wish 2 students a very happy birthday, Ryder and Amari. Gentlemen, I hope you have the best birthday ever, all right? You guys did an incredible job today, and I cannot wait to see what we do tomorrow, all right? So until then, have a great night.